family tradition, and a shared passion for storytelling. So they've actually got a trilogy, and they're going to particularly focus. The third one is out tonight, or tonight? Can I say tonight? Call this the international debut.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, this is the third installment of the Amakua anthology. Here are Dell and Kira Aragon.
Yay.
Are you not coming up too? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's see. Let me raise it up a little bit.
He's big enough for two.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Go up just a little bit.
Aloha kako.
Aloha.
Hello everyone. My name is Gabriel Del Aragon, and I am the author of the Aumakua anthology. Thank you.
It's good to have fans.
The beautiful woman back there that's filming right now is my wife Kiara, and she is my editor. She is also a writer. We have still yet to work on her book. It's up and coming.
My illustrator needs to get to work.
Yeah, her illustrator has been very lazy lately.
He's on
Yeah, that would be
vacation.
me. So, how much more time do I have?
I'm not gonna let you off that fast.
No, I'm just joking. Yes, my wife has been a huge inspiration for me. I grew up in Waimanalo on Oahu, and I went to public school, Kailua, all the way from elementary up to high school. I did some college before we had our first child, and then that's when I had to pick up a second job. And unfortunately, life continued, and I never went back. And let's see. I personally, as I grew up in school, never found anything that I enjoyed reading. I was not a reader. I never ever found myself actually capable of coming up with something such as a book, let alone 3. And this is an ongoing saga. I plan to at least have 11 more books coming out in this anthology. But yeah, the whole step of the way, my wife has been there. And she's actually the one that got me into writing. And sorry. I started writing 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
From this day. My wife bought me my first laptop. And I started writing from that point on my birthday.
Wow.
So today's actually my birthday. This is no coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. This is actually something that was meant to happen. This is all in line with what God has planned. And once she had got me that computer, she encouraged me to write my stories down because I had so many personal experiences when it came to supernatural. Growing up, ever since I was born, I'd had weird things that would happen in my life that were unexplainable. I'm not going to go too in depth in that stuff, but I have taken all those stories that have happened to me, as well as I experienced, as well as hearing from other people, and I placed them into the pages of my stories. So even though it's a fictional story, these are all facts. All the experiences that are inside this story have actually occurred. I use my own personal life to fill these pages. The actual place that it takes place is on Ainapau, which is actually a fictional island south of this island. So the reason why I did that was so I could have a playground to do whatever I wanted there, but also use the islands that surround us to add more realism to the story. So that was the purpose of creating Ainapau. Each one of these stories in the anthology are all their own standalone stories that have an overarching connection that will pay off at the end. But they introduce characters and Aumakua. And that's the reason why I chose Aumakua anthology. Now, for those of you that don't know what an Aumakua is, it's basically a family guardian. So, my family has a family guardian called Lalakea, and he is a shark. And he was born from past generations of ancient Hawaiians. And he was nurtured and cared for on the island of Maui. And when he was old enough, he was set free into the ocean, where he proliferated his own family. I know it sounds kind of silly, and even when I tell my students, because I work at in Enchanted Lake Elementary School as an art teacher, even as I tell my students these stories, they kind of look at me like, well, it's kind of weird. You know, you have your family with a shark, or your family with a bird, or your family with a lizard. But those are the kinds of things that would happen here in Hawaii. There's so much mana, so much energy that was here before people actually arrived, us as typical human beings. That commingling of the first people that landed here in the islands created the lineage of the elite, or the chiefs, and they became servants of the people. And so those are the kinds of things that I added to my book as well, the culture. I think the culture in Hawaii doesn't really shine. And one of the reasons why I didn't really read when I was younger was because I couldn't connect with anything inside the libraries. I didn't have anything of me in the pages on these walls. So I wanted something of myself to read, and I couldn't find anything. And that's another reason why my wife says, honey, write these books for the students. Write these books for the people who grow up in Hawaii, who visit Hawaii, because then they'll take something back with them that's deeper. They'll have a deeper sense of what Hawaii is. So that's the reason why I decided to write these books. So like I was saying, each one is a standalone story, but I also made it a point to make them a different kind of story. So Pokane and Hemolelebe, which is my first book in the series, is a romance. It is a hefty read. My mother-in-law, who never really thought highly of me, really actually changed her attitude once these books started pouring out.
Oh, that's great.
And she says, you know, you should have really separated this book into 3 separate stories. And I thought about it, and I says, you know, it would really ruin the flow if I did that. I said offering this book as one complete story was better than stretching it out and making it muddy. So I thought this made a lot more sense. And even though it's a bigger read, she went through it, and she said she loved it.
Yay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the best. That's the best review I could really get, is from a person who, and you know what? Maybe she was upset with me because she expected more out of me, and actually seeing something like this come out of me was just surprising, and maybe that's what kind of did it for her. So, yeah. So romantic, love story. This one here is a suspense action story about the Mo'owahine. This book was inspired from a hail that's across the street from my high school, Kailua High School. They have Ulupo Hail right behind, what is it? The YMCA in Kailua. And I didn't know this at the time, but in the marsh behind that hail, which is called Kawainui, they actually have a mo'o who lives in that marsh that watches over all the interred bodies from the fishing village that used to be there from a long, long time ago. So to honor her, I decided to write this book about the Mo'owahine, just to provide. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, which is the lizard lady. I'm sorry. Mo'o means lizard. Wahine just means woman. And so I decided to honor that. Her name was Luahine. Luahine actually lives in that Kawainui marsh. My particular Mo'owahine is Pawai, and she lives on Ainapau, and she protects the area of, well, I don't want to get too much into it because it's going to spoil some of the stuff in the future, but basically, each one of these stories has a different aumakua, leading from the Mo'owahine, as well as Pokane, which is actually how aumakua in Hawaii culture are created. So I don't want to get too much into the creation of aumakua because we have children present. But basically, you can kind of think of it as visitations at night when you're dreaming. You see a pretty lady or a handsome guy, and there's, a relation, and those kinds of things are what spur on the birth of an aumakua. So we have the Mo'oahine. And we have another type of Aumakua, or protectors or defenders, called Night Marchers. And so this third book that I wrote is about the Huaka'ipo, which means Night Marchers. And they are from PE Level Point. And they have a very interesting story. Whether or not they are malevolent or benevolent, we're not sure. But there's a more of a horror thriller type story inside of this one. They also all take place in different times. So my Pokane starts off in 1946 and it culminates or ends in 1980. So it covers a lifetime. This one, the second book, actually takes place in the 1990s, and the third book is in the 1980s. So they all jump over but they, like I said, interweave with each other. And I have many more to come, but as it stands right now, for the past 2 years that I've been writing, which is something I never thought I'd do, I created 3 novels through that, yeah. So thank you. Did anybody have any questions? Or?
What's your next novel? First novel?
Oh.
So you said you've got an arc in mind. You already have in your head what all 11 books are going to be?
Well, I stretched it out to 11 because I want to try and catch as many Aumakua as I possibly can to include them inside my stories. You know, there's just so many and so many different types. It's not just, you know, like the sharks and the lizards and the turtles and stuff like that. You know, there are just so much that I want to cover in my stories, and 11 is probably a pretty healthy.
You have them pictured in your head?
Yeah,
All right,
I do.
That's great.
I do. Yes.
You said that, you know, each book is a standalone story, but eventually they'll all like connect to one another. Does that mean that you can technically like read them in any order? Like if you wanted to read them chronologically, like would it still flow, or is it best to still read them in order when they come out?
Yeah, so I do have them numbered from 1 through whatever they're going to finish at. But you can actually take one book and read it. If you're happy with it, be done with it. Because some people like I was saying, I work at a school, and I'm going to say right now that the boys at my school do not want to read this. Even though they read a lot and they read really well, this is something that doesn't interest them because they know it's a romance. So I kind of wanted to create my stories so that I get a lot of people interested in what I had to share. You know, because like I said, this started because I didn't have anything to read.
Yeah.
And what would I be doing if I just stuck with horror or just, you know, one thing?
Right.
No one would ever read it. So I tried to branch out that way. Yeah.
Shameless plug. Who's the illustrator of those beautiful covers?
Oh. Well, see, here's the thing. One of the reasons why I didn't actually get myself my own personal computer until I was in my 40s was because we don't have a lot of money. And so the great thing about writing is it comes from your mind. And luckily, fortunately, I was born from an artist, and I was actually gifted with his talents, and I actually created my own covers for my stories. So you guys can check these out later, but yeah, I actually created the artwork, wrote the story, my editor went through it, and just like Jack, when's the next chapter gonna finish? Because I'm having her read them one at a time, and she's like left at these cliffhangers, and she's insisting, it's like, you gotta finish this stuff already, man. Yes,
Do
sir.
you prefer writing physically with a pen and pencil or something like that, or type of keyboard?
I prefer to keep my pen and pencil with sketching and drawing. That's my therapy through that.
And writing on a keyboard.
Writing on a keyboard, yeah.
Was there any research that went into the stories, or are these just from your imagination?
Oh, this is personal experience.
Okay.
Yeah, personal experience. And for Hawaii culture, we are a very oral culture.
Yeah.
Everything is passed down through words. So a lot of this stuff came from the mouths of my kupuna, my grandparents, as well as my aunts, my uncles. Growing up, we'd sit around fires, we'd sit in the living room, and they'd just share stories after stories. But like I said, I have my own personal experiences as well.
I know.
I don't know if this matters or anything, but in 2008, I started working with a paranormal investigative group, and we hit a lot of haunted places. And not only did I work as an investigator, but I also worked as a security guard as one of my full-time jobs. And so, first person there, last person to leave, you always see kind of weird things in the buildings and on the walkways. So, yeah. They're not saying that I don't do research. I also do look things up and find out what's appropriate and what's not. Yeah.
Still, as a bookseller, who will I sell these books to? What age?
Ooh. I like to hit the 11 and up age, which is why I don't have any.
Is reading the Mo'ohine?
Huh?
Is it a fifth grader that read the Mo'ohine at school?
A third grader.
Third grade. The one that would never read anything. The librarian was shocked to find it.
Oh no, yeah, that was a fifth grader. So yeah, the librarian at my school was also very, very happy. My book was sitting on top of a desk, and this kid walked in who never reads a book, always throws a fit every time there's library time, never has anything nice to do, saw the book, picked it up and started reading it. He was quiet the whole class. And she was just shocked because normally this kid is acting out all the time, just behavior after behavior. And he found something that he could connect to, and he really resonated with him. So that was his first book that he actually settled down to read. But getting back to your question, I try to keep it very clean. Like the language, I think damn, maybe ass, maybe. That's like the worst you'll see. I don't have any, of that,
No steamy sex.
no steamy things inside my book. So if you're looking for that kind of read, I don't have that in my romance. Everything is clean. But I would like to say 11 and up, but I'm sure most people would say 13 and up. Yeah. Any other questions? How much time?
Good.
Good?
You're good.
Yeah? Okay. Do I have a chance to?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Come here.
To you. Happy birthday to
Us.
Happy birthday, dear Jack. Happy birthday to you guys.
So thank you guys so much for allowing me to burn your ears for the past 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, thank you
for
guys.
sharing with us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's great.
Have a great night.